Shabbat Shalom, and welcome back here to the Light to the Nations. It's a blessing, like always, like every week, like every Shabbat, to be with all of you here to continue with the study of the Word of YaHuWaH, to learn together, to grow together in the knowledge of His truth, and to begin today with a new book. Is the book of Second Kings, right?
The continuation of all the genealogy, the history, what they have done, what they have not done. So. Yeah.
Genealogy, it's a difficult one.
Yeah.
Especially with the kings.
Yeah.
So I hope that you have been enjoying your Shabbat. Has been a day of rest. That as always, this study is going to bring blessings to you in the same way that is bringing blessings to us. And today we are going to study the first portion of this book, Second King. Is chapter 1 and chapter 2. And you remember the name?
No.
Let's look for it.
I remember that you...
We call it... Actually, we took the phrase, one of the phrases within this portion is the entire chapter 1 until the end of chapter 2. And this phrase in Hebrew is Pi Shnayim Beruchacha. Can you pronounce that?
Pi Shnayim Beruchacha.
Perfect. Pi Shnayim Beruchacha. And the meaning for that is a double portion of your spirit. And this is exactly what somebody asked to somebody else that he wanted to have. So this is the title we decided to put to this portion, and we will see what the Ruach is bringing to this study today. Welcome all of you. I see many of you joining this small but beautiful family. I see 23 of you connected, 24 now. And I think it's almost everybody here, right?
Yeah.
You saw a few names. You want to mention some of the names?
Well, Didi, Jimmy, Marisabel, Collective, Wendy, Shannon Jenkins, Corina, Camila, Yaya. I just can't see when they are on the top because I have the microphone that is looking.
You don't see it.
I don't see all the names.
I'm sorry for that.
Yeah.
So let me
keep seeing.
Some change here, so you are going to be able to see them all.
No, keep sticking.
Much better?
Yeah. You're Brigida Rojas, your mom.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
So, anything you want to share before we begin?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe someday, a lot of people is because I was missing somebody. I was watching some of the videos about a young, some people who are coming to the path of YaHuWaH, and maybe they are struggling with the same struggles that we have before. And maybe you're going to be also familiar with this because it's so funny because everybody's going to experience a lot of the same problematic situation, and the only thing that we can say is that you have to be thinking and believing with all your heart that YaHuWaH is going to be with you there for helping you in every need that you're going to have, that every situation that is going to be maybe difficult, YaHuWaH is going to bring you out from those situations with a very strong hand. And if we allowed him to do it, it's going to be for his glory. And we are going to be instrument for that. So don't be discouraged. We need to go through trials. We need to go through different situations, and we don't have to put our trust in men or women or in the same people that we have maybe around, but it's only in him. He's the one that is going to take control of this situation. And I wanted to share that maybe for the younger generation, that we were talking about this and is for the young or the people who are struggling. What I'm doing with my life, I have two roles. If I want to serve YaHuWaH, I need to dedicate full time, and I need to do this and that, and this is sorry, my English. I have a lot of issue right now with trying to express the idea, but it's when we have a way to try to solve things and to do things that maybe Abba is opening a road, and we only have to do. He's going to give us some gift in our life. He's going to put us in a position. He's going to put us in a specific work. He's going to put us in a specific family. He's going to put us in a specific country. But we don't have to try, unless it's the instruction of him, we don't have to try to change that by our own conscience, by our own decision. What we have to try to do is to use everything that he's giving us, our talents, our situation, our environment, to him, and to do his work, to help him to show through us what he has done in our life. Maybe it's a work, maybe it's a career, maybe it's going to be a relationship. We have to try to show in our life how he has done changes, how we can do. Maybe in the past we were working and we were behaving in some kind of way, but now we can show that, and we can use our work to give glory to him. We can use our work, our gifts, to empower and to make his kingdom be real here on earth, and then he's going to use us like the instrument that he created, because he is his will. We have to decide what kind of instrument we're going to be. So
that's a good word, actually.
Yeah,
I think many it depends. Sometimes it depends on what age and what type of maturity we have.
Yeah. But I don't know if in the past it happened to you, that you wanted to resign to everything just because you were thinking that, okay, this situation was, I don't know, taking me or consuming me all the time that I have, and I want to be dedicated 100% to this. And we thought that we have to choose.
I think if I have to answer my experience, know that I remembered.
Okay.
Maybe now in the last 10 years, 12 years, 20 years most probably. But at a younger age, I don't remember. That doesn't mean that maybe other people went through those situations. What I can say in my opinion, regarding to your question, is that the new generations are going through those type of questioning more often. Actually, something that the youngest generation now, after this talking about this topic with many people, are questioning a lot of things. And I think that's kind of normal considering everything that's going on. And it somehow is backed up by the word, considering that life is much empty than maybe it was before. There's no sense of purpose. So I think this is exactly what the youngest generation see. If I want to see it, from a logical point of view, or from a worldly point of view, when we were at that age, and though the world was in turmoil, problems, because there is always problems, there was a kind of a certain level of stability and certainty about the future, what is coming. There were fights, difference of opinions, and so on, but there was a baseline. Now, with the situation of the world, that baseline doesn't exist. You know, kids, teenagers, and young adults, they see that, you know, we are at the tip of the iceberg, or at the tipping point of a big scale war, big scale economic crisis. So what's going to be the future? And beside that, the foundation you need in order to have a kind of how to say it, stable life, it's not there anymore, because you know, you have all these discussions about genders, what is a man, what is a woman, and all those kind of things that it bringing, you know, such a level of uncertainty and stability, that I can understand that the kids are and young people are in a very difficult situation. And connecting, just to finish my long answer to your question, connecting this to the word of YaHuWaH, we need to realize that older generations, they were much and even much closer to a relationship with Elohim, with God. People were more connected to the word. They were going to church and so on. And let's keep aside of faith about religions for a moment, but from a point of view of a connection to the spiritual life, it was much closer than today. Yesterday we were just or this morning we were taking a look in this video. It was this morning how people are removing themselves from the church, but maybe some of them, they are doing it because they are just finding the true path, and that's fantastic news, good news. But the more, I don't know if it's more of them, but some of them, it's because they are just fed enough and they don't want to believe anymore. So you know, the foundation of the word of YaHuWaH that was much higher in the past, I think is being destroyed somehow in purpose, and this needs to happen according to the word, and thus creating all this big mess.
Well, I think that is a thin line.
Sorry for the long answer.
No, it's okay. But I was thinking more when that time when we were talking about, I wish I could quit my job because I want to dedicate all my life to be in the, I don't know, abiding with the Father, doing His work and that kind of stuff, dedicating all my time reading and searching.
There are some people in that situation.
Yeah.
You know, it's you know, sorry to interrupt, but you know that has been my question, my daily or weekly question on what we're doing. Why not to dedicate 100% our time to that?
Yeah, and that is what I mean.
Okay.
That maybe it's not that we need to quit to things. Is that where we are is because Abba wants us to be, and that we have to transform and use that energy to even shine more, because we have a purpose. Is with the gift that He has gave us within the place that we are. I'm trying to just to say that that's the idea. And you were mentioning something, that there are a lot of people maybe leaving places, leaving congregations and things like that. And it's because there is a thin line. Some people, yes, they are doing that because they are not believing anymore. And we have to be very careful about that. But there are a lot of people, I think that maybe it's the situation, and maybe it's going to, you are going to feel that you're reflected on this, that maybe you want a more close connection to the Father, and that you are having that connection with Him more closer than with the rest of the people. Because it's true that there is a beautiful energy, it's a beautiful you can feel how the ruach is moving within you, and you have like you feel that kind of empowerment when there are more people and everybody is in the same spirit. You can feel that is being multiplied, but sometimes you need also that time alone, and maybe within that I don't know, range of all the spirit, maybe we are being like, I don't know, being kind of separated, but at the same time we're being kind of I don't know if it's going to be classified or something like that, but everybody has different ways to connect with Abba. And maybe some people are leaving those kind of streams, churches and things like that, the structures, just to find that kind of way. So we hope and we pray to Abba that he is our main connection, that he continues to spreading his coverage over us, that even though we have problems, even though we are going to have struggles, he's going to be there for us, and he's going to be there for not letting that any of his children are going to be loose.
Absolutely. You know, he knows where the place he's sending us and the situations that we need to live in order to prepare us for something. I agree with you, though I have a small different opinion about it's not a different opinion in reality. It's a complementary opinion, because we have talked about this situation that sometimes we have the tendency, especially when we find out about the true path, to isolate ourselves. And this is totally connected to what we were discussing in few portions ago about Eliyahu going to the cave and hiding himself in the cave. So sometimes we have that tendency to isolate ourselves because we are able to see more than before how everything around us is going against the word of YaHuWaH and the righteousness of the kingdom. So we have that tendency, and what we have been discussing is that we cannot, we have to avoid doing that. We cannot be hiding ourselves. We need to go out, because that's why he has been calling us all this time, in order to go out and spread the good news. So in order to be 100% spreading the good news, you need the full dedication sometime. You know, YaHuWaH decided to choose the tribe of Levi in order to dedicate them. And there's the word dedication. Dedication for his service. So I think all of us, we are going into this internal inner fight between, I should dedicate 100% of my time to the service, or I should be using the opportunities that I have, instead of hiding myself in a cave. Now I'm outside in the world, I'm participating. I'm not of the world, but I am participating in the world, because that's the way society works. So I should use that as an opportunity in order to fulfill my true job. And this is what you said. Yeah.
And it's not like everything is 100%. Exactly. We're going to have one of those and one of the other moments.
Exactly. And we need to use it, because in his wisdom, he has decided to put us in some places, and you have been going through that situation as well, and then difficult places sometimes. And maybe because he wants to teach us something, and also it's an opportunity for us to spread the word. But I do believe, and that's the complementary the view, I do believe in one moment we will need to make the call to resign to all of that and to dedicate completely to Him and to His Word. How we are going to live, how we are going to sustain ourselves, how we are going to earn the money we need in order to sustain our families, I don't know. And I think those are the thoughts that are made us struggle in the decision on until when I'm going to be in this place, one foot here and this other foot here. And the only one that has the answer and the right timing is Him, and that's why we need to keep this in prayer. So that's a small difference. In one moment, I think we'll need to make the decision, and maybe that moment will come soon. Maybe it's going to be part of deciding between the world and the mark of the beast or the mark of YaHuWaH. That time is going to be the ultimate time and the ultimate opportunity, most probably, for us to decide what to do. And it's like my dream, if you remember, being in the building and hearing this voice that, okay, jump if you believe. It is the moment to decide. I'm so scared because I don't know what's going to happen. Even I can die. Or like the person that we were looking in the video this morning, that he decided to go against everybody, no matter that he knew that he was going to lose a lot of things, and he did it. So jumping. I think that moment is going to be the moment of truth, and maybe it could be now, it could be maybe it was in the past, but for sure it will come for all of us that moment once again that we need to make that decision.
Okay.
It was a good discussion.
Good.
Maybe we should do some talk shows. What do you think? Beside the portion.
Well, what happened is that sometimes we are living the situations that we can relate to the rest of the people. And I think that maybe there is always a way to allow and to
everybody love the idea of the talk show.
and allow that YaHuWaH through us is doing a lot of things, and sometimes with our thinking, sometimes maybe we are just trying to force or keep kind of patterns of doing things, and maybe He has a different ways of doing things.
And Corina, by the way, I was talking about this totally, maybe it's a Christian, we don't know. She was asking me about it. She would like to see the video of the person that I was talking about. I was talking about a tennis player. And maybe you have heard about him. It's a famous one. It's Novak Djokovic. I used to play tennis in the past many years ago, so sometimes I follow those games.
And he was always refusing.
And he was refusing, this thing. And he said, I'm willing to lose everything, because there was a journalist asking, but do you know what's going to happen? You are going to lose your position. You're going to lose money.
Everything.
Are you willing to renounce to all of that because of your decision? And he says, yes.
I don't want nobody else telling me to put anything on
my
me,
body.
on my body.
I choose for freedom instead of mandatory things. So, this is a small thing, but in reality, it's a big thing. It's an attitude.
And that situation passed, and he continued. And so sometimes we think that everything is a wall, and that is the situation. And we have to stay and to be firm in our conscience.
That's the point. It's an attitude. It's a decision. And you can apply this in any aspect of your life. In this case, in this particular case, and I think most of us, we went through a similar situation like this tennis player. We did it because we believe in something, and we have a foundation. Okay, I don't know what are his beliefs. I don't know what is his foundation. But even though that maybe he is not a believer like us, he stood firm. He was steadfast, and he endured until the end. If I want to put it in the scripture words and vocabulary, and he stood in a rock, and it didn't matter to him
the consequences.
storm. It didn't matter to him the consequences. It didn't matter to him the mockery. It didn't matter to him the persecution, because he was persecuted and even deported from one country.
Yeah.
He stood in the rock, firm with what he believed, and not changing at all. Do you think it was easy for him?
No.
Not at all. I think he went through a lot of reasoning and thinking, and maybe sometimes doubting in his own decision. Maybe the inner circle that was surrounding him, his family, his friends, and so on, in one moment they were supporting him, but most probably in one moment somebody did a comment or make a comment. So it wasn't easy. So at the end, it's a attitude decision that he applied it. We need to apply it based even in the concepts of the word. Is that when YaHuWaH said that we need to endure till the end, this is exactly what he's referring about. Is that if we believe in this, we need to endure until the end, even if we go through persecution, even if we go through mockery, even if we go to whatever it is, endure until the end. When he is giving the parables that instead of building our house in the sand, we need to build it in the rock, he's talking exactly about the same. So is something external? No, it's something internal. It's a decision. It's to cling to him. It's to cling to what we believe. Now, we believe in something wrong, and we use that mindset and this attitude, we are going to go astray. And nobody will be able to save us. Even he's able to do everything. But he created us with that capacity. And that's why YaHuWaH is inviting all of us to use that capacity that he gave us. And that capacity, we have it because he has that capacity, because he created us to his own image. To use it in the right way is to cling to him and to make the right decision and to keep it till the end.
Good.
Okay, we will evaluate to do the talk show because it was a good one. Maybe we can bring a topic, or maybe you can bring some topics you want us to talk about, and we let it flow. Okay, so let's move on. We spent almost half an hour in this discussion, but it was a good one.
And we expect and we pray that all the warm weather that we have here, maybe some kind, can arrive to your places, that the one that are in the north part.
But you gave me some times in order to fix this messy file, that maybe we can try to show it as part of the portion today. Okay?
What we were doing.
Yes, what we were doing.
And you remember that the last time we were kind of
I remember, and you won.
I won.
This is what you want to say? Yeah, I remember. I recognize that I was defeated.
Yeah, you were defeated, because sometimes we know that there is a scripture that it says about the falsehood of the pen of the scribe. But in some places is when we are not having all the information, and when our first thought is going to be, okay, that this is not correct. So that was what happened. But we find the solution.
If you don't know what Lillian is talking about, you will need to do your homework and watch the entire study of last week. When we're talking about the names of the kings, and then you will understand what she's talking about now.
So
okay, so let's move on.
Melachim Bet.
Melachim Bet, but let's listen to a song. I have a song here. Okay, let's do that. Let's pray, and then we move on. So here we go. So with the same spirit, let's close our eyes and let's pray together. YaHuWaH Elohim Sabaoth, we want to give thanks to you in this new Shabbat for your love, your compassion toward your people Israel. We are in dispersion in the four corners of the earth, but even though we are not together, we know that we are echad in you, in the love of your Son Yahushua HaMashiach, and in your Ruach HaKodesh. I want to give thanks to you for giving us once again the opportunity to have this gathering through this platform, to spend time together through this way, to study your word, to worship you, to seek your face and seek your wisdom. Our heart is willing to seek the understanding and the wisdom of your kingdom, and is wide open in this moment to receive what you want to teach us today. We pray that you can guide us in everything we will say today. We pray that you can guide us in everything we will do, that we can always have this teachable heart. The only thing it wants is to seek your face and to know you, O YaHuWaH. We want to be like little children, O YaHuWaH Elohim, with that attitude that looking and seeking to our Daddy, who is the one teaching us what to do, how to do it, what is good, what is bad. And we know that through your Son Yahushua and his offering, he has given us the empowerment to be called your little children. And here we are, O YaHuWaH, a small portion of your little children in this world, with that desire in our heart, asking you, our Daddy, to teach us, to show us what to do, to teach us how to do it, and to teach us what is good and what is bad before your eyes. We want to grow to the knowledge, to the image, to the likeness of your Son Yahushua, our Melech, who is the perfect image of you, YaHuWaH Sabaoth. We want to be like you. And we know, YaHuWaH, if we allow you to teach us and form us, we will have that attitude and that mindset that will help us to endure until the end, because we will have your character in us by allowing Messiah Yahushua living in us. I pray for your presence to be among us in this moment, that no matter the distance, that we can feel your Ruach HaKodesh connecting us all to you, that we can feel that love that surpasses everything, that is your love, in our hearts. I pray for deliverance. I pray for the healing. I pray for protection. I pray for joy in our hearts, the joy of your salvation, O YaHuWaH, and the joy of that salvation that was brought by the hand of your Son Yahushua HaMashiach. Thank you, Allah, for everything you do. Thank you for who you are. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to be part of your people Israel and part of your covenant. We pray to you in this moment with all our heart, and we do it in the mighty name of your Son Yahushua HaMashiach. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, let's begin. So let's go to the book of 2 Kings, chapter 1. And who read first?
As you wish.
Okay, I will go first.
Yeah.
So it says the following, chapter 1 of 2 Kings, Melachim Bet, verse 1 onward. And it says, and Moab revolted against Israel after the death of Ahab. And Ahaziah fell through the lattice of his upper room in Shomeron, and was injured, and sent messengers and said to them, Go inquire of Baal-Zebub, the mighty one of Ekron, if I shall recover from this injury. But the messenger of YaHuWaH spoke to Eliah the Tishbite, Rise up, go up to meet the messengers of the sovereign of Shomeron, and say to them, Is it because there is no Elohim in Israel that you are going to inquire of Baal-Zebub, the mighty one of Ekron? So therefore, thus said YaHuWaH, You are not going to get out of the bed to which you have gone up, for you shall certainly die. And Eliah went.
Wow.
You want to say something?
Well, maybe the meaning of the names, maybe. Okay. And, well, we know that this is the king and that he fell through the lattice on his upper room. It's like he was, what was he doing that he didn't realize that he was risking his life?
Yeah,
so
that's a good question.
Yeah, so it was...
Maybe he was spying somebody.
Yeah, or maybe he was kind of drunk. Maybe, yeah. Or doing, I don't know,
it's multiple situations.
Yes.
Remember that there was a person in the book of Acts that was listening to Shaul, sorry, and he felt sleep while hearing the word of YaHuWaH, and he died, but he was resurrected.
Yeah.
So it could be multiple things.
But in this case, it's kind of different. It's like he was, I don't know. I when I was reading, I thought that maybe he was doing something kind of when you do something without taking the precautions.
You know, DDK just put in the chat about the meaning of the name Baal-Zebub.
Yeah.
And it's the Lord of Flies.
Yeah, of the flies. Yeah.
I remember when many years ago I was reading a book of a pastor. He was teaching about fasting. And I handed over that book to you. Maybe you read it as well.
Yeah.
And he was sharing a experience of a couple of ministers that they were going through a long period of fasting. I don't remember, it was 40 days or less than that or more than that. Actually, it's a very interesting book. He shared a lot of experiences, even people fasting for 54 days, I think it was this person, this man. That the change of the color of his hair changed from white to black. After so many days of fasting. So maybe we need to start the fasting more in order to have black hair or not white hair. But anyways, what's the point that I was sharing? In
but
one of the
white hair is wisdom, so
that's wisdom. That's true. One of the experiences he was sharing in the book is that this couple of believers, well, they were going through this long period of fasting, and they were in the at the sea, at the beach of the sea, and the shore. Actually, they were walking around while they were in one of those days that were fasting, and in one moment. I don't remember exactly, but I think in one moment a swarm of flies appeared suddenly from nowhere, and they were somehow going to them, and I think they pray about it, and then the flies departed, and the pastor that was writing this book, he used this experience in order to explain about this meaning of Baal-Zebub, that somehow the flies are connected to this demon, and he was mentioning something that happened in the Brit Hadashah, and actually maybe it's a good moment to go there. He was bringing this this story, and I think it's in the book of Matthew chapter 12.
When they were telling Yahushua about that he was casting demons?
Exactly. This is in the chapter 12 of the book of Matthew, chapter 22. And it says the following: Then they brought to him one who was demon-possessed, blind and dumb. And he healed him, so that the blind and dumb man both spoke and saw. And let me do a parenthesis that is not connected at all to the portion, but it's important to mention something here. He was demon-possessed, and an evil spirit was torturing this person. And what is written here that YaHuWaH did for him?
He healed him.
He provided healing. So evil spirits or casting out demons is healing, according to this passage. So all the experiences we see in the Brit Hadashah in the New Testament of YaHuWaH providing deliverance of evil spirits, according to this one, he was providing healing. So people that are being tortured by evil spirits, what they need healing. So why so important? I don't know, but I think it give us a different angle to see deliverance
and sickness
and also deliverance. Deliverance is not only because people is being tortured or being impacted or being attacked by an evil spirit. You know, having an evil spirit, and I think this is the right way to do it. Having an evil spirit is a disease. So we need to be free of diseases, physical diseases, spiritual diseases. So what YaHuWaH was doing, this is the way we need to look at it, is that we need to provide and bring healing to those that are in need. And it could be physical healing, or it could be spiritual healing that is being caused by a spirit of an Nephilim. And we know that spiritual and physical is not disconnected.
Yeah, one is impacting the other one.
Exactly.
And
it could be the spiritual cycle is impacting the physical, or the physical is impacting the spiritual. Both of them are connected. How we can understand that is just to go back to Bereshit, to the beginning, and it says that he created man from dust. He formed the body from dust, and when he provided the ruach, it became
alive.
a nefesh, a soul, a living being. So both things are connected. One thing, the physical, without the spiritual, it doesn't work. We are dead. The spiritual without the physical, it doesn't work, because both things needs to be together in order to be a nefesh, a soul, a person, a living being. So because of that connection, if we are being impacted by a spiritual disease that is an evil spirit, it will impact yes in one moment or the other the physical, and in the other way around as well. Okay, so let's continue after that news and parentheses and breaking news. So that the blind and dumb men both spoke and saw. And actually here it is a perfect example, you know, evil attack and providing blindness and so on. And all the crowds were amazed and said, "Is this the son of David?" And this is part of a study of identifying the Messiah. You know, all the people in that time, they knew about the coming Mashiach, and they knew that the coming Mashiach
was going to
be the son of David
and providing healing and deliverance.
And it was part of the lineage of David, the son of David, or David. You know, I said David because in Spanish we said David, and in Hebrew as well.
David.
Okay. But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, "This one does not cast out demons except by Beelzebul, the ruler of the demons." And YaHuWaH knew their thoughts and said to them, "Every reign divided against itself is laid waste, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan casts out Satan, he is divided against himself. How then does his reign stand?" He was so clear. He has the right answer for the right moment. I would like to be like that. Sometimes I'm having the right answer even with 1 year delay.
That happened to me too.
So, but what's the point? You know, they were accusing him to cast out demons by the same idol, Baal Zebub. You know, it's just a translation here that they call it Beelzebul, but they are talking exactly about the same. Is the Lord of Flies. Okay, so they knew about this demon even from the very beginning. I mean, from the time of the kings.
Once I remember that if that all the period of a fly is 40 days from when they arrive.
It is
like
written
that.
in the
It's
same
in
book.
the same book.
And that's why he was providing this knowledge
about the fasting
inside.
wise from
40
40 days that you destroy that,
Yes,
that
the eggs of the fly
Yeah.
doesn't last more than 40 days.
yeah, something like that.
So-
And we
so-
know that flies, what they're going to do is that they eat the rotten meat or the
Correct.
corpses and things like that. They are part of the putrefaction process.
That's why he was mentioning this, saying that going through a last fasting period of 40 days, thinking on what YaHuWaH did.
Yeah, is
Is the
destroying.
moment of destroying and allow the enough time in order for any evil
Yeah,
to be destroyed.
yeah. So like he was saying, okay, you don't have any kind of power over me, something like that.
Okay, so let's move on. I was reading, right?
Yeah, and ekron also. Ekron means
Uprooted.
uprooted. Yeah, uprooted. So they don't have any kind of foundation there.
And it's interesting. Do you remember where was Ekron?
No.
Ekron was part of the 5 cities of the Philistines. And this story about the Ark of the Covenant, when was
it was taken
and the
there,
tumors and so on,
they made
was
tumors.
being moved from one place to the
Yeah.
other, and they sent the Ark of the Covenant when they started to die
Yeah.
from one city of the Philistine to the other, Ekron.
Yeah.
And they were crying out because you
Yeah.
know they thought that they wanted them to die.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I remember.
So Ekron was a Canaanite city, it was a Philistine city. So it's sad actually to see how the house of Israel went so low that even they adopted the mighty ones of their own previous enemies.
Yeah.
Because the houses of Israel, when they were together in one house, they were fighting against the Philistines. And now when they split, they decided even to adopt
Yeah.
their own beliefs and their own mighty ones. So it's like going to the enemy and to be part of the enemy. And this is exactly what sometimes we're doing, spiritually speaking. That's when YaHuWaH was praying that we are in the world, but we are not of the world. And when the disciples were writing about that, we cannot love the world, because if we do that, we are going to hate Elohim.
Yeah.
I see exactly the same example. You know, they were following the idols, and they were being friends of the enemies of YaHuWaH. And this is something that we need to be so careful analyzing every aspect of our lives. Is that could it be that maybe I'm becoming friend of something that YaHuWaH hates, or I'm becoming a friend of somebody that hates YaHuWaH? We need to be so careful. And last week, I think
Yeah, we were
talked
talking
a
about
lot
that,
about
about the leader, who do you follow, and how that is going to influence you.
Absolutely. So let's continue. It says, and the messengers returned to him, and he said to them, "Why have you come back?" They returned to the king.
Yeah.
"Why have you come back?" And they said to him, a man came up to meet us and said to us, "Go, return to the sovereign who sent you, and say to him, Thus said YaHuWaH, is it because there is no Elohim in Israel that you are sending to inquire of Baal-Zebub, the mighty one of Ekron? Therefore, you are not going to get out of the bed to which you have gone up, for you shall certainly die." And he said to them, "What was the man like who came up to meet you and spoke to you these words?" And they answered him, "He was a hairy man and wore a leather girdle around his waist." And he said, "It is Elijah the Tishbite."
He knew.
He knew because most probably,
Yeah.
it doesn't mention here, I think his age, I don't remember. But he knew from his father Ahab and his mother
Maybe he saw him
Jezebel,
before.
and maybe he saw him as well. For sure, he saw him in this showdown with the 400 prophets of Baal. Okay. He then sent to him a captain of 50 with his 50 men, and he went up to him, and see, he was sitting on the top of a hill. And he spoke to him, Man of Elohim, the sovereign has said, Come down. And Eliyahu answered and said to the captain of 50, And if I am a man of Elohim, let fire come down from the heavens and consume you and your 50 men. And fire came down from the heavens and consumed him and his 50. He then sent, the king, then sent another captain of 50 with his 50 men to him. And he answered and said to him, Man of Elohim, this is what the sovereign said, Come down at once.
Like he was the one giving instructions.
And Elijah answered and said to them, If I am a man of Elohim, let fire come down from the heavens and consume you and your 50 men. And fire of Elohim came down from the heavens and consumed him and his 50. And again he sent a third captain of 50 with his 50 men. And the third captain of 50 went up and came and fell on his knees before Eliyahu. Do you think that they were completely consumed? Or maybe this third captain, he managed to see some of the burned bodies.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the second.
Maybe.
And if you see that what you heard is a real thing,
you don't want
for sure you're going to be fully afraid.
Yeah, and you're going to be more humble.
Absolutely.
And
so fell on his knees before Eliyahu and pleaded with him and said to him, Man of Elohim, please let my life and the life of these 50 servants of yours be precious in your eyes. See, fire has come down from the heavens and burned up the first two captains of 50s with their 50s. But let my life be precious in your eyes. And the messenger of YaHuWaH said to Eliyahu, Go down with him. Do not be afraid of him. So he rose up and went down with him to the sovereign. So, this is an interesting story. And I would like to hear your opinion. Actually, I would like to hear your opinion as well. Why do you think this or YaHuWaH allows this to happen? How, is 50, 100, 102 people died.
Wow.
Were
50,
burned.
50. Oh,
was only two because he pardoned the other ones.
You're right.
It's 102. It's 100 plus the two captains. So why this happened? Actually, in the book of Luke is the story of two disciples that they were remembering this this portion and saying to Yahushua, Master, do you want us to call for fire come down from heavens and consume this? And Yahushua rebuked them. Actually, I think we should look for it. Let's see. Fire.
That's why it's always related when we are talking about the prophets, about Eliyahu and the relationship with the fire, and also like with the Ruach, and why Mashiach also spoke about Yahuhanan the Baptist, about that he was also with the same spirit like Eliyahu, that they have power over the fire.
So it says, this is in the book of Luke chapter 9, saying, by Yahushua, we're going to read from 50, verse 50. But Yahushua said to him, do not forbid him, for he who is not against us is for us, because of they saw a person baptizing or casting out demons. And it came to be when the days of his taking up were being completed. Even he set his face to go to Jerusalem, and he sent messengers ahead of him. And they went and entered into the village of Shomeronim to prepare for him. And they did not receive him, because his face was set for the journey to Jerusalem. So somehow was connected, because it was in Shomeron and so on, with the story of Eliyahu. And his tall ones, Yaakov and Yehohanan, seeing it, said, Master, do you wish us to command fire to come down from heaven and destroy them as also Eliyahu did? But having turned, he rebuked them and said, You do not know of what spirit you are. For the Son of Adam did not come to destroy men's lives, but to save them. And they went on to another village. So we see a totally different situation here from the one that we see in the portion today. What do you think?
Well, Eliyahu was using his power, or the power that YaHuWaH gave him to apply destruction. And I think that it was because the attitude that those people have. And I think that they received that instruction from the king. But also what happened when you have an instruction, and sometimes it's like related with people maybe when they work, for instance, in jail, and you have a power over a person who is, there, and you feel that you have power with that person, you're going to be even more mean. There was a kind of experiment years ago about when people have a little power, they can be abusive. And I think that in the case of the first commander and the second commander, they were like, hey, my master is calling, so you have to go. So it was like also the attitude that they have. It was not a humble attitude. And I think that it was being shown, and it was given like these two examples, because YaHuWaH was given the king and also the people a way to show them and to that the king can realize he got this word that YaHuWaH knew where he was making his consultation. If you are doing something and you have an action, and imagine what is going to happen if somebody else is coming and is telling you, you were doing this and this, and you are going to die because you were not trusting in me. So it wouldn't surprise you that somebody is approaching with that kind of message. I think that, well, sorry, even though I did something wrong, I would have repented. I think that was the opportunity for this king to be repented, but he didn't. He was like, wanted maybe, I don't know, what was the intention of calling Eliyahu when he knew. But I think that the intention was not good at the beginning.
They were, I agree with you.
I think that it was options. Like you have situations that are going to be used like option to see what is your attitude.
Maybe it was related to pride, because they were representing the king. And there was already a sentence being communicated from the YaHuWaH through the messenger, Malach YaHuWaH, to the prophet, and the prophet to the messengers that came first.
Yeah.
Actually, the messengers that were going to inquire for Baal Zebub, he pronounced a sentence and sent them back. And instead of repenting the king and sending, with the right message, they were bringing with they were coming to Eliyahu with this attitude to attack. You need to come down now. You need to go to the king now. So not disregarding completely the sentence that was pronounced against the king. And they were representing the kings. Now the innocent, let's call it innocent, being impacted due to the guilty one.
Because they were
part of the king.
Among of that
exactly.
People.
They could go with the same attitude of the third one, understanding that they were under the headship of this evil king, but going with the right attitude to explain. And this is exactly what we see happening.
If you see your boss, for instance, if you see that your boss is doing something that is not correct, are you not going to try to tell him?
Obviously.
You have to think.
I always do.
Yeah. So maybe that didn't happen with the first group of messengers. Nobody said anything because maybe they believed the same.
Yeah.
So at the end we can see that maybe the destruction is because all the group of that people maybe were in the same kind of spirit. Or...
Now there's something that Camila wrote in the chat, and I fully agree with what she said, is that about the disciples of Yahushua. It's like they were telling Yahushua what they wanted to do rather than asking what he wanted them to do. And I wanted to talk about that as well, just to compare the two situations. Is that here we see and we can understand it was Eliyahu pronouncing fire coming down from heaven because it was his desire to do it. But there's something that we forget, is that all the time was the messenger of YaHuWaH with him,
giving the instruction.
and how we can understand this is because it was the messenger in the verse 3 of YaHuWaH that spoke to Eliyahu to go and meet the messengers and to provide this sentence against the king. And then at the end with the third captain, the third captain came. It was the messenger of YaHuWaH saying to Eliyahu, go down with him. So it's not written directly here, but we can understand that the messenger of YaHuWaH was all the time with him. And it could be, and this is my words, it's not written, but it could be that maybe it was the messenger of YaHuWaH giving instructions and allowing Eliyahu to bring fire in order to consume, because they saw something and they wanted to provide also a message. Let's remember that the fire came down from over Sodom and Amorah by the YaHuWaH, but he sent the messengers. And the messengers told Lot that the destruction were coming and they were bringing fire against the cities. So it was the messenger of YaHuWaH, the Malach YaHuWaH, that we know this is Yahushua, that was with Eliyahu and giving the instructions. In the other case, the disciples were with Mashiach. But as Camila wrote, and I agree with the comment, is that instead of asking Yahushua what to do, they wanted to impose their will. And they wanted to, and this is somehow temptation.
And it was kind of show off thing. Like, okay, we know that we can have this power and we are using in this way. So,
and the other difference is about the background, was the bottom line of the stories. In the first one, the punishment were coming against the king because of his evil deeds. So the whole situation was related to wrath instead of salvation. In the other one, with the disciples, Yahushua came to provide salvation and open a door for people to repent and come back. So in one purpose was wrath, punishment. In the other one was forgiveness and repentance.
Rescue people.
Okay, so and the other interesting thing is that connected to the transfiguration is that here in the verse 9, and the first captain, him a captain of 50 with his 50 men, and he went up to him, and see, he was sitting on the top of a hill where Yahushua met, when he's transfigured himself, and Moshe and Eliyahu appeared was at the top of the hill. So it's interesting, the connection and understanding that also the Malach YaHuWaH was with him, according to what I see. It's not written again, it's what I believe it happened. It's like Yahushua with Eliyahu as the Malach YaHuWaH, in the same thing that the situation that happened at the Mount of Transfiguration with Yahushua and Eliyahu at the top of the hill. It's an interesting stuff. It could be that maybe, as somebody else put in the comment some time ago, is that there was
maybe kind of
a moment without time.
It
was the same moment with the same people in different ages.
It could be. We don't know how time is doing.
So let's continue. And it says in the verse 16, and spoke to him, the messenger of YaHuWaH told him, go. So he went down and spoke to him. Thus said YaHuWaH, this is Eliyahu speaking. Thus said YaHuWaH, because you have sent messengers to inquire of Baal-Zebub, the mighty one of Ekron, is it because there is no Elohim in Israel to inquire of his word? Therefore you are not going to get out of the bed to which you have gone up, for you shall certainly die. And he died, according to the word of YaHuWaH which Eliyahu had spoken. And Jehoram reigned in his place in the 2nd year of Jehoram, son of Jehoshaphat, sovereign of Yehudah, for he had not son. And the rest of the acts of Ahazyahu which he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Israel? So, 3 times. The 3rd time was repentance. Fire coming down. I think in that story, in those numbers, I don't have the answer. I'm just speaking about. I think there is more. More that he wants to show us. Maybe it's related to we have 3 times for repentance.
Sometimes I don't know if I know that I have telling you about this, that sometimes when I think about the mark of the beast, that it says the 6 and the 6 and the 6, and it says is the number of men. In Hebrew, that number is related to men.
Yeah.
And if we see that the drawing of that letter is the men being in awe with the hands up. So when I read this, I was thinking maybe we are going to be in some kind of difficult situation in our life, and who we are going to go for help. We are going to go for help and be in awe before YaHuWaH. Or we are going to choose maybe a doctor, maybe a human help. And I'm always it's in my head that I'm always thinking that maybe the mark of the beast is that YaHuWaH is giving us those 3 situations, and he's going to test us if we are going to be confident that he's going to help us, or we are going to rather to be receiving the human help. Some other help.
I don't know why it came to my mind about the 3 messengers in the book of Revelation. YaHuWaH is sending 3 messengers in the chapter 14 as it's the last opportunity with the 3 specific messages for people to hear, and it says that everybody will hear their message as the time of repentance. So maybe it's number 3 in this case were 3 captains, 3 times. The last one was the one repenting.
Yeah, because I don't know, even here the king, when he saw that Eliyahu was there, he could have said, well, you know what, I'm really repented because what I saw. Nothing is mentioned about that.
No.
So it's mentioned that maybe we can deduce because of that he was continuing thinking. He was not asking Eliyahu to be maybe a mediator between YaHuWaH.
Exactly. Now, last point about this portion is that for that story that many believes is that one of the 2 witnesses in the book of Revelation is Eliyahu.
Oh, yeah.
Because of what is written in the chapter 11. In verse 4 it says, these are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands that are standing before the Elohim of the earth. And if anyone wishes to harm them, fire comes out from their mouth and consumes their enemies.
Yeah, it's like
what happened with the story we just read. And if anyone wishes to harm them, he has to be killed in that way. So, is Eliyahu?
It could be.
It could be. Is the spirit of Eliyahu? It could be too, based on what we're going to read in the next chapter. So one thing I'm going to share you, and I was beautifying this file before while we were speaking and doing the talk show, first talk show.
So now you're going to recognize
and go and recognize that you defeated, that you won. And let me go here. Last Shabbat after the portion, the broadcast, we're putting together the names of the kings, and I will explain you the file in a minute, okay? So let me do something here. And we will try. I will need to look for a content manager or webmaster in order to put it in the website.
You need to speak louder so
Really?
she can hear you.
I know what you're talking about. So here, are the kings. Let me do something first. We are going to try to share this file. It's not complete yet.
Yeah, because we are doing it while we are reading about that.
Yes. So here are the names of all the kings, consecutive kings on the house of YaHuWaH, and their colleagues or the kings in the house of Israel. And where was the contemporary kings in each one of the houses. So we did this in order to decide if or to find out if Lillian was right or I was right, and I had to say that Lillian was right. And it was good that you were right, because we find more things about this wrong decision that YaHuWaH did that we were speaking about last week. Okay? And they created a big mess with that decision. Okay? And actually, even in this portion, we see part of that
the consequences.
The consequences, and we will see it in the coming portions. So, what we included here is the name of the king. Sometimes we have the name of the mother of the king, how many years they were kings, they rule over the houses, and some of the details that were connecting with
something that could be interesting.
So this is in the case of the house of YaHuWaH, that the lineage was always from David or David, and this is from the house of Israel, that they were jumping from the one house to the other house and so on. So just to put an example, in the case of when the kingdom was split during the time of Rehoboam, Yarovam ben Nebat was the king over the house of Israel, and he was king while Rehoboam was king, and also while the son of Rehoboam, Abijam, was king. And then when he died, his son, the son of Yarovam in the house of Israel, was the one being king following. But it was the last one from that house, because he jumped to another house, to Baasha, and then his son Elah, and he jumped to another house, to Simri. That Simri was because of a conspiracy, and they killed the king. Simri happened exactly something very similar, and actually he killed himself, he burned himself, and he ruled only for 7 days. And then it jumped to another house, the house of Omri, that we don't know what the type of
is the origin, because it is not mentioned,
tribe, and so on. And this one was the one that lasted the most. Omri was the father of Ahab, and Ahab was the father of Ahazyahu.
This one is
the one that we are talking about. It's Ahazyahu, and Ahazyahu was was contemporary. Sorry for that. Was contemporary. Ahazyahu is this one. Was contemporary to YaHuWaH. YaHuWaH. Actually, it wasn't only that. I think YaHuWaH, and I missed to put this information, YaHuWaH was contemporary to Ahab somehow as well. Okay? So we have all this information, and then just to complete the picture of genealogies, and it's important for you to follow this. It's important information to understand what's happening next.
He said that he died
without sons. And who reigned was
his brother.
Yahoram, that was his brother.
And the problem was that Yahoram we have in one kingdom and another Yahoram in the other kingdom.
And this Yahoram from this kingdom was contemporary to Yahoram, was contemporary to YaHuWaH for one moment, to Yahoram, the son of YaHuWaH, and also to another Ahazyahu, that was the grandson of YaHuWaH. So we have two Yehoram, one in the house of Yehuda, and the other one in the house of Israel.
Yeah.
And we have two Ahazyahu, one in the house of Yehuda, and the other one in the house of Israel.
So
and you remember what was the reason for that?
because they got married with one.
They were family.
They were family.
They were family. You know, this Yehoram over here was the son of YaHuWaH, that YaHuWaH decided to give in marriage to the daughter of Ahav. So at the end, Yehoram decided to put the name of his son, maybe, and this is speculation,
because of the family.
in remembrance of the Ahazyahu, his brother-in-law,
who died.
who died. So this is so usual in these days that, you know, I'm going to put the name to my son in remembrance of my dear uncle that died because of this. So he put Ahazyahu in the house of Yehuda, put his name most probably in remembrance of the Ahazyahu of the house of Ahav, the son of Ahav that died because he fell down on the lettuce and because of the sentence from YaHuWaH. It's interesting stuff, you know. We found these kind of things and connection only when we go to the genealogy, even though that sometimes it's not that interesting. It's a kind of boring to go into the genealogy, and more than boring, it's a kind of difficult to connect.
Yeah.
Okay, we are trying to make it easier. Okay. So having said that, we will try to put this on the website as soon as it's ready. We will let you know, send you the link. It will take time, so be patient. We want to complete it also with all the kings. So let's move on. Let's go to the chapter 2 of the book of Kings, 2 Kings. So your time.
Okay. And it came to be when YaHuWaH was to take up Eliyahu to the heavens by a whirlwind, that Eliyahu went with Elisha from Gilgal. And Eliyahu said to Elisha, "Please remain here, for YaHuWaH has sent me on Bethel." And Elisha said, "As YaHuWaH lives, and as your being lives, I do not leave you." And they went down to Bethel. And the sons of the prophets who were at Bethel came out to Elisha and said to him, Do you know that YaHuWaH is taking away your master from your head?" And he said, "I also know. Be silent." And
Go ahead.
call your attention that they said this to Elisha.
Yeah, absolutely. There are two things that call my attention here. First one, that they're telling Elisha, your head is going to be removed. So somehow it's recognizing that they're under the authority or somebody else. And we have been talking about that this is normal in the structure of the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of YaHuWaH. He's an Elohim of order, and he has put people in authority, and he has put, headships. And this is a structure in family, this is structured in his kingdom. Actually, we just read about this captain of 50.
Yeah.
This is a structure of the kingdom. This is the way that was divided even in the wilderness. Captain of 1,000, 100, 50, and 10.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the order. So it's an Elohim of order. That's one thing. And the other thing that caught my attention is that those prophets, they knew.
Yeah, everybody knew.
Everybody knew except Elisha.
Yeah.
Or Elisha.
No, he said, "I also know."
I also know. Yeah, everybody knew. Yeah,
it was a common knowledge. So I was thinking, or the rumor was spread very quickly, or everybody was receiving the revelation directly from
That's
YaHuWaH.
interesting. And I think it's the second.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a combination.
I was thinking about that.
Maybe it was a combination. It was a group of people that they got the revelation and started to speak about, and then gossip. Everybody knew about
Everybody knew.
But I like your thought, because I think this is interesting. And this is only by his will. He decides how to do it. But in the same way, listen to this, in the same way that he allowed the spirit to go and entice the prophets to give a wrong prophecy to Ahab. And all the prophets were repeating like robots the same message. Go up, because YaHuWaH will give you the battle and you will win. All these prophets were receiving the same word, and revelation from the evil spirit, falsehood. So YaHuWaH can do exactly the same. So maybe, as you said, this is exactly what happened. All of them, all the prophets, because it was a kind of a school of prophets. Maybe they have this kind of knowledge and connection, so strong connection with the Ruach of Elohim that they got all the same revelation at the same time.
Yeah.
Like it. We need to develop this type of capacity because we will need it. We are in need of that power in these times. And we will need that type of power even more. So can you imagine, some of you, I don't remember the names, but some of you are in Africa, other ones in Europe, most of you are in the States. We are here in the south part of the world. Can you imagine how wonderful it would be if all of us, no matter the distance, are receiving at the same time revelation from YaHuWaH about something. We are receiving at the same time. I'm gonna mention something that we're coming later. We're receiving at the same time. Go. It's time to walk. It's the time for the second Exodus. If we are not developing that type of relationship and that type of connection, is going to be even difficult to get the revelation. For him, nothing is possible, but it depends also on us.
Nothing.
Nothing is impossible.
No, it's okay. Nothing is possible, or anything is possible.
Yes, thank you. My English is also sometimes complicated. So we need to develop that type of capacity by getting into this type of relationship with him. Okay, go ahead.
And Eliyahu said to him, this one, the fourth?
I think so.
Yeah, and Eliyahu said to him, Elisha, please remain here, for YaHuWaH has sent me on to Jericho. And he said, as YaHuWaH lives, and as you being lives, I do not leave you. And they came into Jericho. So they were moving from one city to the other one. And the sons of the prophets who were at Jericho came to Elisha and said to him, do you know that YaHuWaH is taking away your master from over you today? And he said, I also know, be silent. The second time he was, I know, please. So it was like, I think that he was kind of okay again.
Why do you think he was telling them to be silent?
I don't know, maybe it's like, I know, don't tell me anything else. So I think that it was even complicated for him to accept that. And that's why he didn't want to depart from Eliyahu. I think that he knew, and is when for instance, what is going to happen if you know that you have a deadline, and everybody's kind of remembering you. Oh, you know that you have to deliver. Yeah, I know. Please, okay, leaving me alone. And it's like when I'm telling you a lot of times the same thing. Is that he was kind of, I know.
Yeah, I think it's somehow, I agree, and it's connected to what Camila and just mentioned here. It's a battle. We have always said that the biggest battle is the battle in our hearts, or the battle of the mind.
Emotions.
Yeah. So when you know that something is going to happen, that you are not that happy about it, you rather prefer nobody. You already having an inner fight, and if somebody else is coming with words, it's making it even more difficult.
Yeah, it's getting worse.
Because it's getting worse because it's more pressure. It's outside pressure. That when you are with that inner fight, the only thing that you want to be is in silent mode, just trying to calm down that inner fight you have, and to get rid of it. This is one way to see it. And the other one, because we know what's coming in the story, he has put a specific target about what he wanted. And he didn't want to be distracted by the emotions that were somehow pushed by the others, distracted from that mindset. I know this is going to happen. This is what I want. My focus is this. I'm going to get this. If he was allowing distractions because his emotions were touched because he was his master, he was going to deviate his attention from what he wanted to do. And actually, that mindset from Elisha or Elisha allow him to fulfill what's coming in the coming passages. Without that mindset of focus, do you think that was going to happen what happened? I don't think so. He was going to be looking to any other places.
I don't know why I feel that maybe he was, even in this relationship with Eliyahu, maybe it was kind of father and son relationship. It's going to be turned to you are learning from somebody else. Somebody is being your mentor. So it's kind of difficult.
That's true. And I like what Karen put in the chat as well. I didn't notice this. Silent and listen have the same letters.
Yeah, and they're
in different orders, but are the same letters.
Yeah.
And it's so true. It's just to, in order to listen, you need silence.
And I have heard a lot of time that when somebody is living in a difficult situation, sometimes they don't expect to be like, they don't want to be cheer up. Exactly. Because it's going to be the opposite. The best help is going for them to know that you are there.
Exactly, just to be there. You don't need to say anything. You just to be there.
Yeah.
It's talking to us, by the way.
Yeah. And so I need to be silent. And Eliyahu said to him, "Please remain here, for YaHuWaH has sent me on to the Jordan." And he said, "As YaHuWaH lives, and as your being lives, I do not leave you." And the two of them went on. And the 50 men of the sons of the prophets went and stood facing them at that distance.
It's like everybody was going into their path. It was a kind of farewell.
Yeah.
If you look at it in this way.
Yeah.
50 of the sons of the prophet, they knew about this Eliyahu, this mighty servant of YaHuWaH. They wanted to see, in the way that I understand, I see it now, they wanted to see him for the last time.
Yeah. Well, the two of them stood by the Jordan, and Eliyahu took his mantle and rolled it up and struck the water, and it was divided this way and that, so that the two of them passed over on dry ground. Beautiful. Beautiful. They were witnessing a miracle there.
Yeah.
And it came to be when they had passed over that Eliyahu said to Elisha, "Ask what I am to do for you before I am taken away from you." And Elisha said, "Please, let a double portion of your spirit be upon me."
Interesting. Ask. Focus on what? His focus was on the Ruach. Focus was on the power and the mighty hand of YaHuWaH being demonstrated and being at work in the world.
What do you think? Why do you think that he was asking a double portion and was not asking, "I want the same that you have"?
Interesting question.
He was greedy, maybe. He wanted to show up.
It's a good question. I have never thought on this.
Me neither.
Maybe.
But now, when I was just reading, I was thinking that maybe he was realizing that he was.
Thank you, DDK.
Okay, but
just noticed.
Maybe now he was realizing that he was not at the same level of Eliyahu, that he was behind with the spirit amount that he has. So maybe he need to be, in order for be at the same level, he need a double portion. Maybe, I don't know. I was thinking.
Could be that. Could be that maybe he wanted to be used more powerfully than Eliyahu. But this is not bad, because you are not looking something for yourself. Let's say it's in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
But we see the evidences here that Elisha was leaving everything in order to follow Eliyahu.
Yeah.
So he had the right spirit.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be that he was a kind of doubting about himself. He knew most probably that Eliyahu was struggling sometimes because of all what's going on, Isabel and Ahab and that family, that even Eliyahu was running away and hiding himself because he was so exhausted and afraid as well. And he was afraid that he knew that now I'm going to be alone.
Or maybe he knew that the task that he was going to receive, it was even much harder than the one that they were already facing.
So
like being really prepared.
He thought maybe that, okay, in order to fulfill this task of my master, he knew about the prophecy that Eliyahu received, that Elisha was going to continue leading the prophets.
Yeah.
Is that, okay, if Eliyahu did all of this with this power, in order to complete the task, we need more power from YaHuWaH. I don't know. It could be multiple things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you asked for a double portion, by the way?
No. And I think that maybe I need to do that.
Maybe we need to ask for a triple portion.
Yeah, maybe a triple portion of this time.
Yes, I think in this time, in this age, we need not a double, 10-time portion. And you think YaHuWaH, what do you think? Do you think YaHuWaH, if we do it in the right way, can he give us a 10-time portion? Maybe it's 100 times
like,
portion.
Yeah, 100-fold time.
Yes. And actually, Yahushua was the one saying that, if we ask to the Father, he will answer. Just paraphrasing. If we ask the right thing.
Yeah, the right thing with the right attitude.
Exactly.
The right heart.
And we see here the perfect example. Elisha asking the right thing with the right attitude.
And he said, you have made it hard to ask.
Yes, because I just saw the comment from Karen, and this is interesting. The concept of a double portion goes to the first one.
Oh.
Perhaps there's something there. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Interesting thing to take a look. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
And he said, you have made it hard to ask. Yet if you see me when I am taken from you, it is yours. But if not, it is not.
This is so connected to what we were discussing at the beginning, and then the attitude when we brought this example of this tennis player, is that the focus to receive the reward, to complete the task. Is to not allow external distractions to forbid us to complete what we have to do. We were talking at the beginning about sometimes this thought or desires to left everything and to dedicate yourselves. And why we're doing that? Because sometimes things that we are in our day-to-day serve as distractions. That are removing us from the purposes of YaHuWaH, removing us from the will of YaHuWaH, removing us from the kingdom somehow, in terms of attitude, thoughts, and so on. So, focus, attitude, and we see it completely. Everything we discussed at the beginning, we see it here in Elisha, in the attitude of Elisha, or Elisha in English is Elisha. So you can continue reading. I will save the comment for later.
And it came to be as they continued on and spoke that see, a chariot of fire with horses of fire which separated the two of them. And Eliyahu went up by a whirlwind into the heavens. And Elisha saw it, and he cried out, my father, the chariot of Israel and its horsemen. And he saw him no more. Then he took hold of his iron and tore them into pieces.
So,
But what I found interesting now that I'm seeing this, I was like remembering about the story of Shaul when he was having this vision about Mashiach. And he was the only one who could saw that vision. Remember that when he was being called?
yeah.
Why you are persecuting me? And the rest of the people who was there was with him, and he saw Shaul talking to somebody or watching something, but they could not see him. And then when we remember about the situation when the disciples were with Mashiach and they saw him ascending into the clouds and from the Mount of the Olives.
And what happened with them later? They receive a double portion with the Ruach HaKodesh going to the upper room.
Yeah. So what I was thinking, it was not, it was the same for Elisha. He was able at the end to see that. And that's why he was, Eliyahu was telling him, if you are able to see, this is going to happen. It's going to be like a confirmation. If you're able to see heavenly things, if you're able to see maybe the hand of YaHuWaH, your spirit is going to be even strengthened. You're going to receive more. So maybe it's also related what we can perceive from the hands of YaHuWaH, what we can see, how we can see with the spiritual eyes. There are things that we can see, and maybe the rest they cannot see them. Even though it's like with the good news. Maybe sometimes we have them and we have received them and we are trying to share with the rest, and maybe the other ones are not. Everybody's not going to be prepared. Because maybe
I agree. It's exactly that. Actually, there is a coming portion that we will see exactly what you said. But the point is that in order to see and to be able to see spiritually, we see here that we need the focus. You know,
The
if we
want
are and the desire.
the desire.
Without the desire and without the focus, not allowing distractions to confuse you, you are not going to be able to see it. What, you know, I imagine Elisha when he heard Eliyahu saying this. Elisha was like this. Nothing is going to go in my side. It's going to be only looking at you in every moment and not going to even to blink. Most probably because he wanted to see. But again, with the kind of comparing we're doing now, if we do this and we put our focus on the desire of what we were looking for, then it's only in that moment we are going to be able to see with our spiritual eyes. If not, we are going to be fully distracted. Fully distracted. You know what Yahushua said to the disciples? Go there and wait because the promise is coming. So the same attitude, focus, enduring until the end in order to receive the word. And this is exactly the comment that I was going to mention before. Here we see a perfect example of endurance and what's the prophetic timeline and what needs to happen. You know, what happened to Eliyahu here was a rapture. You know, it's a picture of the rapture of the believers. And it's not talking about the pre-tribulation rapture. You know that I don't believe in that. But I know that the scripture is clear about the rapture, that we are going to be lifted up and we are going to be there in the sky while we see everything that's is happening down here. But before the rapture, what happened? They walk. They came from the north of Israel, and what is interesting, they went somehow in reverse to what happened when they conquered the land of Canaan, because they went to Bethel, they went to Jericho, they crossed back the Jordan, and in that side, in the east side, is when everything happened. So somehow they went in reverse to what happened with Joshua and the second generation of Israel. So the rapture of Eliyahu didn't happen at the beginning. the rapture of Eliyahu happened after both of them were walking and doing this exodus. They crossed the Jordan and he was took up.
And it was in the same situation. The Jordan was divided.
And the Jordan was divided. So here I see a perfect argument and confirmation from the word of YaHuWaH is that the second exodus will happen first. And after the second exodus is happening, and we have a kind of a covenant, because there was a covenant between Eliyahu and Elisha, because Elisha wanted to receive something. They were so focused in that moment after that covenant, after the second exodus, that the rapture will happen. So, and the other thing is endurance. Yahushua said that those that endure until the end will be saved. Elisha was so focused and he was enduring, even though that he was somehow trying to get distracted emotionally and physically. Even his own master, he was trying to push him back. I'm telling you, stay here, I have to go. But he was so focused. No, he was enduring. It's the same example. Exactly, it was the same example that we were talking about this person, this tennis player at the beginning. Everybody was telling him, but you know what you're going to suffer? You are going to lose your position, you are going to lose money, you are going to lose these championships, and so on, because of this decision. Yes, I know. And you are going to keep it till the end, mostly? Yes. That's the attitude. That's the meaning of endurance. We see it here in the life of Elisha. I want this. I want to be part of the kingdom. I want to be used by the Ruach of Elohim, even more than my master was used. Because I want to be a servant of YaHuWaH in order to bring justice and righteousness and the mighty power of YaHuWaH here in this generation. And nothing and nobody is going to distract me on achieving this goal. And persecution rise, kind of, but he endured until the end, until he got it. What we are failing most of the time, all of us, is that we are not having this attitude, the focus and endurance. And sometimes we are looking for those attitudes outside, when in reality, those are an attitude of the heart. And it's an inner decision. And it's not a decision that we need to do in just one moment. Elisha most probably needed to reinforce his decision and his desire every time that the prophets were coming. Do you know your master will go away from you? Be silent. Don't bother me. That's the attitude, is to reinforce what we believe, is to reinforce what we are looking for, is to reinforce that we have found that pearl in that land, and we have decided to sell everything in order to buy that land and to rejoice over it. Is that it doesn't matter what people will say, it doesn't matter what people will do, it doesn't matter what people will try to do and to tell us. What it matters is the decision that is in our heart, the revelation we have received, and the door that YaHuWaH has opened, and the joy he has put in our heart. Is going to be an easy task? Not at all. Is going to be a daily decision? Yes, it will. We need to reinforce that decision constantly? Yes, we have. But putting our eyes into the goal and into the kingdom, into the reward, and doing it exactly as Elisha, like a horse, not able to see to the left or to the right, just in front of us. So in order to be able to see with our spiritual eyes and to receive the reward and to receive the double portion. You know, maybe some of us, maybe all of us, we have been expecting and waiting for the manifestation of the Ruach HaKodesh in our lives. And we have been hearing stories of other believers that they have been used mighty in the hands of YaHuWaH, and we think in ourselves, I would like to do the same. Why am I not receiving it? You know, maybe is the way that YaHuWaH is working in our heart in order to prepare us for the right moment. Maybe there's something that we are not ready yet. And as Elisha was walking and waiting, because he didn't have the double portion. Maybe he didn't have a portion at all. But he knew that if he was constant and enduring until the end, not allowing distractions to move them out of the goal, he knew and he believed, because he has the emunah, that he was going to receive it. We cannot let those thoughts, this story is perfect for what I'm saying. We cannot let those thoughts of sadness, or even for expectation that is not being fulfilled yet, to serve as a distraction from us to reach the goal. Even if I have to be 99 years old in order to have a son, even that my wife is, barren, I'm going to endure until the end, because I know that if I'm asking him for something and I'm doing it in the right way, he's going to answer my prayer. Taking the story of Abraham. He needed to wait for 99 years. Are we willing to wait for 99 years to receive the double portion? Sometimes we are not, because we are so desperate to get it now. It's up to us to decide when? No, it's up to him. What he's asking and he's waiting for from us is about our attitude, our focus, our desire, our endurance, that we will be able to walk against everything and to endure until the right moment when he is going to answer. And even in that right moment, when we have been waiting and walking all the time, if we are not able to, it's like running actually. If we are not able to keep it up in the last mile, we are going to lose all the efforts we have been doing till now, because we allow distractions to go against us in the last mile or the last minute.
And usually the last mile is the hardest.
It's the hardest, and when we need to put more effort, more energy, more focus, more strength. So, I have been telling and repeating this and several times, and I'm going to get tired to repeat this. If YaHuWaH has decided to give us life in this generation because he saw something in all of us, and he has prepared something so powerful for all of us, he wants to use us in the same way that he used Eliyahu, in the same way that all these prophets received, as you said, the revelation at once of what was going to happen. He wants us to use it in the same way that he was using Elisha. And actually, you will complete this passage with even more things. But he's not going to do it if we don't have the right attitude. He's not going to do it if we are not enduring until the end. He's not going to do it if we allow distractions to come in. And I think the moment, Elisha's moment of seeing Eliyahu and receiving the double portion, is coming for all of us, and it's coming really soon. There's no doubt, and we were talking last week, that we are living in the latter days. So we are in the last mile. Are we going to allow in this last mile distractions to come into our lives, to make us doubt and to lose focus? I think all of us, I'm going to speak by myself, but I do believe that all of us are going through distractions lately. That it's not allowing us to keep the focus in the Word, it's not allowing us to keep the focus in the kingdom, comparing ourselves, our own selves, to who we were a few years ago in the path of YaHuWaH. If I compare myself today to the Juan Carlos of 7 years ago, I have to be honest with him and with myself. I'm not with the same focus, I'm not with the same attitude than 7 years ago. And again, I think you can relate yourself exactly with the same situation, most probably. We are allowing distractions of what's going on in the world to push us out of keeping our mind and our eyes into the reward of receiving the double portion. And again, external things will happen all the time. It could be worse, it could be easier, more difficult. We're talking at the beginning as well that now it's more difficult because everything, the external, what's going on in the world is crazy. But at the end, it's always is an internal decision. The point is that the internal decision and attitude sometimes is much easier than others to change it. But it continues being an internal attitude. It's an internal decision. I'm going to decide for the narrow path or the wide one. I'm going to decide for the life or death. What's going to be my decision today? What's going to be my decision this minute? Because with the situation that's going on in the world now, it's not a daily decision. It's not a weekly decision. It's not a how's the name that everybody is the but at the end of the year they put the it's not a yearly resolution. You are going to have your resolution back on December. For the people who are going with the Gregorian calendar, my resolutions for the coming new year. It's not like that. Today it's not even a day-to-day reinforcement of our decisions and our calling. It's minute by minute. Because life is not in our hands, and it is written. It's in His hands. We don't know what's going to happen in just a moment. So moment after moment, we need to reinforce our calling. Moment after moment, we need to reinforce our focus. Moment after moment, we need to reinforce our endurance and keeping our eyes into YaHuWaH. Because it's YaHuWaH, not Eliyahu now, the one that He promised, the Ruach HaKodesh, the helper, and it's YaHuWaH HaMashiach, the one that is going to give us and baptize us, because He's the baptizer in the Ruach of Elohim. He is the one that is going to give us the double, the triple, or the 100-time portion, the portion that you need, the portion that I need, that not necessarily is going to be the same, in order to fulfill the purpose of YaHuWaH for each one of us, is to stay focused and looking into YaHuWaH. If we put our eyes out of YaHuWaH, in the same way that Elisha needed to put his eyes into his master, our master is YaHuWaH HaMashiach. If we keep our eyes in our master, we are going to be able to receive from him the Ruach that the Father gave him in order to receive that portion. And he said, it is written, that mightier things will do than what he did here on earth, because stronger is the one that is with us than the one that is in the world. Let's continue.
Good. I was thinking also about the other persons who were taken up from it was like Enoch and Moshe. And Moshe was also related with fire. So, interesting too.
And that's why, about the two witnesses, there are so many speculations. We will know only till the end that it could be any of the three of them. Hanoch, Enoch, Moshe, Moses, or Elijah, Eliyahu.
Interesting. And he took up the mantle of Eliyahu that had fallen from him, and went back and stood by the bank of the Jordan. And he took them, and he took the mantle of Eliyahu that had fallen from him, and struck the water, and said, "Where is YaHuWaH Elohim of Eliyahu?" And he struck the water, and it was divided this way and that, and Elisha passed over.
It's interesting. You always made this comment about Yaakov, and we see it here with Elisha. Even though that he received the double portion, he's not calling him his Elohim yet. he's calling him the Elohim of Eliyahu. And this could be because there is still this headship attitude. And it's totally normal. Now he was in charge.
Now.
He was the head, appointed by YaHuWaH. But he still have this attitude. And I think we will see this life change in Elisha. And I think this is the change that we all of us are going through, is that is the empowerment that YaHuWaH is giving us, again, through whom? Through Yahushua. You know, when I was praying, I think it was during the prayer that I said, you know, is Yahushua the one that he's empowering us in order to be called children of Elohim? We are children of Elohim. We are servants, but we are children. We are part of the family. So we have the empowerment from YaHuWaH given by Yahushua himself to all of us. So maybe exactly what he's learning. He's in the process to understand that he is the leader now.
And Elisha passed over. So remember that it was in the point before that the two of them were crossing, but now Elisha was returning, was crossing back.
Could it be that they crossed in the place where the Yahushua was being baptized?
Maybe.
Could it be that they crossed in the same place that the children of Israel crossed the Jordan?
Maybe. But
could it be it was in the place, and we talk about this during the Samuel portions, where the Ark of the Covenant stood when the river was split?
Yeah, was split.
Was standing at the middle of the river, the Ark of the Covenant with the presence of YaHuWaH.
That would be really beautiful. When we can see that a lot of things happen in the same place.
The chariot of
the same
YaHuWaH.
Time, and in the moment on the year of YaHuWaH. So now he's returning and he's doing the way back somehow. And when the sons of the prophets who were from Jericho saw him, they said, "The spirit of Eliyahu rests on Elisha." And they came to meet him and bowed to the ground before him. And they said to him, "Look, there are 50 strong men with your servants. Please let them go and search for your master. Let the spirit of YaHuWaH take him up and cast him upon some mountain or into some valley." And he said, "Send no one."
But you see, you know, what they believe about the power of the Ruach of Elohim? We have seen this in the book of Ezekiel. We see this in the story of Philip in the book of Acts. Is that the spirit of YaHuWaH can move us from one place to the other, physically move us. And they knew that the spirit of YaHuWaH was able to do that. That's why they wanted to look for it.
Yeah, they want to look
him.
because it was happening with Eliyahu before.
Yeah.
But he said, "Send no one." But they
maybe this is what is written in the book of Yeshayahu, is that he is going to give us the wings of eagles. We're not gonna get tired of the way. Maybe he's going to take us with the spirit, and instead of walking all the way, we're going to cross the seas, we're going to cross the rivers, we're going to cross the lakes through the power of the Ruach of Elohim. That's going to be beautiful.
Yeah. But they pressed upon him till he was ashamed, and he said, "Send." So he conceded the request. So they sent 50 men, and they searched for 3 days, but did not find him. So, interesting, they searched only for 3 days. It was like on Yahushua.
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
And they not returned to him, for they remained in Jericho. And he said to them, "Did I not say to you, do not go?" And the men of the city said to Elisha, "Look, the site of this city is good, and my master sees, but the waters are spoiled, and the soil barren." And he said, "Bring me a new bowl, and put salt in it." And they brought it to him. So, what do you want to say something?
No. This thing with the salt is really beautiful because I was remembering that YaHuWaH said that we are the salt of the earth.
Yeah, I was thinking about
So
the
and waters are connected always with the world, with population.
Yeah.
So how to bring healing into the waters with salt. So and then this beautiful. There are physical healing diseases and spiritual diseases, as we spoke about. So we are the salt of the world. And YaHuWaH most probably has appointed us to bring healing over the population, over the world, healing not only physically, as we spoke, spiritually. And today, there's so much need for those two type of healings, the spiritual, especially spiritual one that is growing by the minute. So when we look at it in this way, we have a huge task in our hands. The point is that what's going to be our decision? Are we going to take the task and the job or not?
Yeah. And I always remember about the other day when I cut my finger and I put some salt in order to cut the blood. The issue is like that. You can use that for cutting that process of the blood going out. So, and I remember about that phrase when they were asking, where are you coming from with all your raiments? Like, sprinkled with blood. So it was YaHuWaH receiving all the blood. And he went out to the source of the water and threw salt in there and said, thus said YaHuWaH, I have healed this water, so no longer shall death or barrenness come from it.
So death and barrenness. What YaHuWaH is going to do, he's going to provide healing, and he's going to use us, the salt of the earth, to, is this throwing the salt into the source of the water, through the water. So use us in order to bring that healing. It's like, the river that is being prophesied in the book of Zechariah, that is going to bring healing to the Great Sea and to the Dead Sea, the Salt Sea.
Yeah.
So it's the same picture, is the same plan, is the same attitude. So let me say it differently. We need to realize that we have been called to provide healing. He wants to use us to provide healing. And that's why, and we mentioned this last week as well, the entire creation is crying out for the manifestation of the children of Elohim. Because creation know, in the same way that the prophets received the revelation about Eliyahu, the creation knows that as soon as the children of Elohim are being manifested, healing is coming, death is going to be removed, barrenness is going to be removed, full healing is coming. So we don't need to wait for that moment. The moment is now. He has been calling us now to do so. If we are going to be salt, let's bring healing to the world.
And the waters were healed to this day, according to the word of Elisha, which he spoke. And he went up from there to Bethel. See that he's returning on the other way around. Now he's doing the backward road.
Yes.
So he's returning. And he was going up the way. And as he was going up the way, some youth came from the city and mocked him and said to him, go up, bald head, go up, bald head. So I was thinking about that. They were like saying very in an ironic kind of way.
Yes.
Like go up like the one that you were saying, that you were being witness.
Could be.
It could be. I don't know.
They were mocking him.
Or
yes.
go up.
He was bold.
Or go up, I don't know, like continue walking, I don't know. And And he turned around and looked at them and pronounced a curse on them in the name of YaHuWaH. And the two female bears came out of the forest and tore to pieces 42 of the youth.
Mm-hmm. I remember my dad at church 100 years ago. I don't know that much. He was explaining his understanding of this in this passage. It's an interesting one, by the way, because we are talking about the two bears, and they're somehow torn into pieces 42 of the youth. So the number 2,
Divided.
the fact that there are bears, and the number 42 is really interesting, because we see in the book of Revelation 2 beasts. That somehow is the first beast is the anti-Mashiach. That's the way we understand this. And the second beast is the false prophet. So it could be somehow related to these two bears over here. And the number 42 is related to the timing, 42 months. That also we see this information on the book of Revelation. You know, they will act mostly at the same time of the other two that are going to appear, that are the two witnesses. So we have two false witnesses, and we have two rightful witnesses acting in a period of 42 months. So it's a really interesting thing to see when we see this story. How we can understand maybe prophetic implication what we are seeing here. We see people that are being mocking servant of YaHuWaH, but we see beast maybe with a number of people or in a period of time that they are going to bring some distractions to.
And from there he went to Mount Carmel, and from there he returned to Shamaron.
Wow, so this is the time for Elisha.
Yeah.
He took the post from Eliyahu. And we will see mighty things being done by Elisha in the coming portion. So he was ashamed, as you were reading at the beginning. He was ashamed to say no, because most probably he was yet not believing on assuming the role he had now in leadership. It was the change was like this. So it take time sometimes for you to feel that empowerment and that the authority and responsibility mostly. So that's why he was ashamed to continue saying no. But we will see how he's growing in his role, and I think he's growing because he's keeping the attitude, but also most importantly he's believing and he's seeking YaHuWaH Elohim. The same applies to all of us. In order to grow in power, in order to grow in authority, in order to grow in the kingdom, we need to have the right attitude. We need to seek always the face of YaHuWaH. Any final words?
I don't know if we are going to be ready like them to.
We have no option. We have no option. We have to be ready. What do you think? We have to be ready, right? We have no option. So the points of what we're going to do with the time left to prepare ourselves, more than physical preparation, that we have to do physical preparation as well. But most important than physical preparation is the inner preparation. How strong we are going to be inside in our ruach, in our emotions, in our decisions. How strong is going to be our heart at the time of decisions. This is the moment to strengthen ourselves in order to step and continue stepping into the rock, standing in the rock. To put some glue in our feet and then to stand in the rock. So we're not going to move out. Good. It's been such a portion. And it's been always a nice time with you in this Shabbat, with sharing the word of YaHuWaH between us. So we really hope that this been a blessing to all of you. And we're going to finish, like always, with a song, and hoping that YaHuWaH will give us once again next week the time to continue this book of Second Kings, and to continue spending time together, at least virtually, through this platform during Shabbat, feeling His presence and feeling the love between us, the children of Elohim. So till next Shabbat, thank you so much. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
YaHuWaH be with you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
המלך יננו,